you guys probably noticed this is not my apartment, right? This is not my couch. This may be my picture. But we are actually in Derek's house right now.
Oh, boy.
And if I can just pick up the camera and show you guys.
So we will show you guys.
He lives right across the street. Alright? Don't let this fool you.
Oh, man. Alright, so as you guys can see, this is my apartment right here. And Trevor, why don't you go and show them? We'll follow you real quick.
Yeah.
You got the Cribs in Jersey? Okay.
This is, the Cribs episode.
Cribs episode.
MTV Cribs, you did.
Waves on spin.
Right there.
What's good, y'all? It's the 3MDs. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm here today. I got my guy Trev. We got Ken on the side. And we will be talking about habits that you guys should form before you get to medical school. We're in medical school right now, obviously, so we know how it is. And second years, by the way, as you guys already know, exactly. And there are certain things that we wish people would have told us prior to the start of medical school that would have made our experience a little bit more smoother. So the first thing we want to start off with is time management. Time management. Can't stress that enough. We'll let Ken go ahead.
All right,
and
so
give you guys some gems.
As you already know, medical school is very, very busy. You're going to be busy 24/7 with all the assignments that you have to keep up with.
Yep.
So one thing that I've tried to incorporate a lot, especially during my second year, having a list of everything I need to do before I go to sleep. So when I wake up in the morning, I know what I need to be doing at every hour. For example, we scheduled to shoot this video at 1 p.m. today. I knew that at 1 p.m. I needed to be here, right? Yep. So I really have a schedule out from time that I wake up at 7 a.m. to the time that I go to bed around midnight. I have it written down, so I'm maximizing getting the most out of every hour of every day. Yeah. What about y'all?
Yeah, I definitely agree, because I feel like with so much going on, it's easy to just sort of kind of get lost of track in your day. You know what I mean? Like, we already have a lot of stuff that we have to keep up with, whether it's preparing for class, whether it's catching up on those notes that you missed, or whatever the case may be. And just, we're still human at the end of the day, so we have things that we want to do outside of school, whether it's going to the gym, keeping up with the hobby. So
even cooking, making your meals,
exactly.
You have to schedule time for that too.
You gotta honestly you honestly gotta get it down to a science. And I know it sounds sounds crazy, like why should you nitpick what you're gonna do of every hour every single day? But honestly, it saves you a lot much more time. It saves you a lot of mental capacity. That's one less thing you have to worry about going forward. And it's it gives, and they also say that, I think even scientifically, you're more likely to accomplish whatever you write down, or whatever you have written in front of you, as opposed to saying, I believe we do this thing in our heads, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna get that thing done, I'm gonna do this thing done, but sometimes you don't really get to it. But having it written down and seeing it, I'm pretty sure it's a lot easier for you to go about doing that.
And because
the scientific word for that was procrastination.
Procrastination.
Procrastination. There we go.
And because you're so busy, you don't ever think, because time is so precious, especially during our second year, you don't want to overcommit yourself to a lot of things. So by me having a time schedule of everything I need to do, in time blocks, I know the free time that I do have. So if they ask me, hey bro, pull up here, or if I'm asked to be on a phone call or attend a meeting, I know that, okay, I'm not free from 4 to 5, but hey, I'm free from 6 to 7. That keeps you from mixing your time together and getting more done within the time allotted. So
definitely agree.
Yeah.
Trevor, you have anything to say?
With that, I just want to see, since we have transitioned from first year to second year now, and we're talking about time management, how have things changed with you guys and your guys' schedule? How are you guys managing what has changed with how much time you have to do it?
Okay, with me, so far, I think I would say the thing that's definitely changed the most since first and second years, I definitely by force, I have to just keep myself more accountable, because we are preparing to take STEP, which is pretty much the most important exam of our lives, in that sense. So as opposed to first year, where you saw we were traveling a lot more often, we had a lot of free time. I even remember last year, where sometimes it was a Friday like this, we just come and we just hang out, we just everybody would just come and just chill, you know what I mean? Now it's we just gotta, time is precious. There's no
I'm about to study after this.
Exactly. No, pretty much after we do this video. As we're speaking to you guys, I'm literally coming back from a clinical workshop that we have. This is the clinical medicine, and pretty much what we did today is we were talking about how to motivate somebody to get them to stop smoking. Cigarettes, yeah. As you guys will learn, that's just a whole different topic. But we pretty much planned this out yesterday. We were here planning this out. Okay, like after class, you know, we're gonna come here, we're gonna shoot this video, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. You know, and then we're gonna study after, and then if we have some free time, whatever the case may be, we'll just handle whatever we have to handle after that. But we literally plan all of this, and just that's like time management. And for those of you guys who are watching, whether you're in medical school right now, whether you're in college, whether even in your high school, implement that now, because you're only gonna get it better at it as time goes. And honestly, once you start managing your time, you don't go back. There's no going back from that. There's no going back. You know. So. And
just with that, just real quick, just tell them like what are you involved in on campus?
Okay.
The groups you're in.
All right. So one of the groups that I'm involved in is SNMA, and for SNMA, I am the HPLA chair. Pretty much that stands for Health Policy and Legislative Affairs. What we do is pretty much, bring awareness to some of the legislative things that are going on that directly affect healthcare, especially like communities of color, and things of that nature, and make it known to like our wider general body. What about you?
Also involved in SMA. I serve as the president currently.
Oh.
A lot of I wouldn't consider it. It's time consuming, but it's more delegating, and you have to be you have to be very much so organized. Like I said, the reason why we do this, the reason why all three of us are medical schools because of SNMA. So just giving back, spreading the word, community service, making sure there's a pipeline for medical students, from undergraduate students, medical students, and even into residency is very important to us.
Definitely.
And then I'm a part of SMA as well. I'm the M2 rep. I'm also the AMC rep for the school, and then I just got a position as a seat on the admissions board.
Yes.
So I'm interviewing applicants.
And you guys stay tuned. I'm not going to say anything yet, but I think we'll have something in the works sometime in the future in regards to the whole admissions process. So definitely stay tuned out for that. All right, guys. So we just finished talking about time management. Now we're going to talk about some classes that you guys should take serious in your undergrad career, right? So obviously, pre-health track, there's certain classes you got to take, your general bio, your general chem, 1 semester of biochem and things of that nature. Classes that we think you guys should take a little bit more serious, or invest that extra time to do, so that when you do get into medical school, you'll see that like a lot of these things you've come across, or just learning it again, is not going to be as hard as like for us, in terms of certain subjects. So I guess I'll start off. The first subject I'll talk about is anatomy. Now, anatomy isn't required by every single medical school, and that's why we're going into this. So, I know at least for me, I didn't take anatomy before coming into medical school. I did take human physiology, which is like an offshoot. It's not fully as in depth as anatomy and physiology, but you do get some of the background information. But I'll definitely say anatomy, like gross anatomy, is one of the most difficult courses you will take in medical school, just because of so much information coming at you. Do you guys agree with me?
Yeah, it's not like you're memorizing formulas. It's just the sheer volume of information, and it's really rote memorization.
So much.
So like one thing that I learned pretty late was that you don't want to, when you're learning anatomy, you don't want to memorize each body part. You kind of want to build relationships between the body parts.
Sure, the only reason why you know that is because you have taken anatomy now, correct?
Yes.
So now imagine suffer, right? Keyword suffer. By the way, I gotta really thank my guy Trev, because he was really fundamental to my success in anatomy. Because I just found it really, really, really difficult. So like as Ken said, all that information, all that knowledge that he obtained is because he's taking anatomy already. Now, if he had that mindset coming into medical school, he'd have been like, oh yeah, I'm about to just...
For the record, I completely avoided anatomy before.
Yeah, exactly. And we ended up, it was not an easy process.
Had I had a more solid foundation, it would have been much easier trying to recall this information.
Definitely. Yeah. So I highly, highly recommend that you guys take anatomy, take it serious before medical school, because it will save you a great deal of stress. Save you a couple tears too, honestly. Trev, you had some experience with anatomy. How did that help you going forward?
Yeah, so I had done a master's program before I came here, and essentially I took anatomy before, and I guess even when I took it the first time, I think I was a little bit better in that class more than anything, just because I was more, as I feel like, a spatial learner. Like, if I see something, I recognize, like Ken said, not every body is going to be the same, but the relationship is essentially the same, right? So he was talking about the phrenic nerve, like, you know where the phrenic nerve should be, and some bodies on the anatomy exam, they'll tag it differently, but if you know what should be there, you can reach your way through it, you know? And it's like anatomy, like you said, it's tough because it's strict root memorization, right? But there has to be some tricks to make things easier. And I guess me going through it, I just had to make things to make it easier on me, right? Because I knew I could memorize, 100 different words, but I needed to know like the relationship between these things. And I guess this year doing anatomy, I was able just to build on top of that knowledge, just not memorizing the names of it, but now I can say, oh, like this is what it does, and if you sever the phrenic nerve, what happens?
3, 4, 5 keeps the
diaphragm alive. All right.
Things like that. Like I think with any class, if you can build relationships around what you're learning, it makes it stick a lot more.
Definitely.
Other than just saying, okay, this is what this is, and we're just gonna take for what it is. And I mean, I think it's the same with when we did first year to now. Like there's a lot of stuff that we learned first year, and it was like we saw the information, we read the information, we know what it is. But now we're getting more to the pathology of things.
Application.
And it's like, oh, that's why a heart attack leads to all these symptoms. Because, left-sided weakness, because the phrenic nerve runs right across the heart, right? So it's like, if you injure or sever that nerve, where does that, what cutaneous sensation is on that side, right? So it makes a lot more sense when you're able to like pile on the applicable knowledge on top of just the root memorization.
Definitely. That's something that you guys can even apply in any class or like anything that you're learning. Try to really understand it as opposed to just sort of kind of just like getting through it. Really try to understand it, because when it comes time for you guys to learn these courses again in medical school, I'm telling you, it would just be very, very smooth. A lot easier. A
few more courses that we suggest paying a lot of attention to. If you have microbiology, learn that. Really, your biochem is also required, but also take the extra effort to learn, especially the biochemical pathways. That's usually going to be the first class that you take in medical school. And if you can really memorize like how glycolysis work, how gluconeogenesis work, what part of the liver this occurs in, if you can really get that down, that'll save you a lot of trouble come your first semester of med school.
Definitely.
Backtrack. Let's start using the real words, not memorize.
Understand.
Understand.
Like we're saying this now, right? And we still have a lot to learn. Like we're second years. I mean, we still got 5 more years before we even get into our real fields, and like we're gonna be continuously learning something, right? But like the best advice is if you're in your class right now, understand the material. Just try to understand it. Some classes, don't really help with what we're like OChem. I think it was more of a weed out class, but that's
in and out.
Right.
Whatever you're doing, just try to understand it and apply it.
Definitely.
So y'all, even though we are busy 24/7, there are pockets of free time that we have throughout the day. And what we try and do especially is have productive dead space. So like prior to med school, like I was on Netflix heavy, watching a whole bunch of shows. But how I look at it now is like I could spend 2 hours watching a show, right? And then in that 2 hours I leave and I don't gain any knowledge about anything except for Snowfall and Top Boy. But like within my dead space, like when I'm doing laundry, washing the dishes, cooking, what I'm saying? I try and like listen to podcasts that like inform me about something going on in the world. And one podcast that I'm really tuned into right now is called Earn Your Leisure Podcast. It is by financial advisor Rashard Bilal and educator Troy Millings. And basically they take real life situations within hip hop, sports, entertainment, and give us like the money plays behind them. And they kind of educate us about like real estate, equity, taxes, the importance of education. And I'm gonna drop the link down below. Also, we'll see in medical school you will be broke and you will be living off of loans, right? Except if your family is like you're a millionaire, and they're giving you $100,000 to live off. But a lot of us aren't like that, right? So financial aid package, loans, no grants, some scholarship if you're lucky. And first thing I do, I pay off my rent. Why? Because I need a place to stay.
Yeah.
You know, and then I've really learned the importance of budgeting. So I know that okay, if I kind of budget for like electricity, gas,
Right.
water, and I put that money aside. Then I see how much money I have to play with, and with that money I have to play with, this is what I use to like do the little bit of traveling, have a little bit of fun with my friends. But it's all about being strict with your money. So by November time, you're not calling your parents telling them, "Listen, man, like I'm broke."
Yeah,
you're still broke, but you're just in the negatives. So
I'm sweating thinking about it.
yeah,
man, I definitely agree because I was actually told prior to med school. That's actually one of the things I was told. Like, hey, bro, save some money. My guy would tell me like, save some money before you go to med school. I'm like, save some money, man. They're gonna give me a loan package. I'm trying to live my best life now, before I get to med school. But I will definitely say, if you guys can obviously still enjoy your life, you know what I mean. We make money, most people, but like, learn about your money and learn about how being like financially aware, and also learning how to live frugal, because I feel like if you can do that, it's definitely gonna help you a lot when you get to med school. Because listen, if you don't learn now, you get into med school, you will learn by default. I promise.
And speaking about saving your money, actually, a true situation. When I got into med school, right, I was coming from Texas, and because I saved usually my dad was in Nigeria, and I would just move doing all this by myself. And at that point, I don't think we received our financial aid package. But I had to move, I had to like buy furniture, do all that stuff. And if it wasn't for the little bit of money that I saved like while working before med school, then I would have been fried, bro. I would have probably been, on the street for about a week or two before I had the money to buy stuff.
And just going back to what we said about like time management, I can say, Chubb, just like seeing how you have been able to really manage your time very efficiently, and just even like Kenny's like, you're very, very like cohesive with what you want to do within the day. So just going forward, right? Like you do a lot in terms of working, in terms of just like balancing school and things of that nature. So you want to just talk about that just a little bit? Like what are some things that you do on the side to I guess get some income?
Yeah. So as far as getting income right now, one thing, it's hard to save money when you broke, right? Like, it's hard to save your own money, right? Like, if you ain't got no income, it's really hard to save.
Hey man, that's true.
You're not lying.
So, like, I try to make sure I have some extra income, and I actually talk about one of my worst financial decisions that I made right after this. But I tutor the SAT right now. And I get paid through that. Yeah. And I mean, we used to do DoorDash, but like
I do a little bit.
Yeah.
I
was doing DoorDash. And then, I mean, it's good money to come in because I mean, you got to think about all the things that you're buying with this loan money. It's really going to be 10 times as much when you end up paying it back.
Interest.
So I try, and I'm saying I try. Right? I try to like make sure I have some type of income to pay for the things that I want to do. As far as like if I want to go out to eat, if I want to, go to Columbus, we're in Dayton right now, so it's like an hour away. Yeah. I want to have that extra income to just go, and that's why I like tutor SAT right now, and it gives me extra income. But it's still that balance of like doing that and managing your time for everything else you have to do.
Because none of that would be possible, I believe, if you're not managing your time.
And I usually don't DoorDash until everything I've needed to complete is done. Yeah. So if the hot time is usually in the nighttime, like between like 6 to 10 or probably 8 to 10. That means that when I have my sticky note and have everything I need to do, I set it so I'm done by like 7 p.m. Right. So I can make that extra money that can like help me do what I want to do throughout the week.
Right. So,
and personally, I like the stress, and I know it sounds weird, but it really keeps you more on. I can't say that's weird. It keeps you more on your stuff, right? So it's like if today I have to do tutoring and I have a paper to write and all these things, like you're very delicate with your time, and like every minute that I'm spending on this, I'm not gonna be on YouTube watching something else because this has to get done because it's gonna save me a lot of headache in the end of it, right?
Facts. Facts, B.
Yeah.
Facts.
I be talking.
Don't do that. You from Texas? You can't be talking like that.
Speaking of that, my worst financial decision is when I got. Let me not say the worst, but it was the worst. When I got accepted to Boonshoft, I was living in New York, right? So I was doing my master's in New York.
It's expensive, man.
And I was transitioning to go into a school there. I got the call from Boonshoft, and I was like, I got my boys here. They're fourth years now, about to graduate. Shout out to them. And I was like, this is gonna be a better decision for me in the long run.
Right.
So I bought a car because I didn't need a car in New York.
And I remember when you did that too. Like
Yeah.
we were literally texting. I remember you texting me. He's like, "Man, I need a car. And then boop, he's like, "Yeah, I got a car." I was like, "Oh shit, that was fast."
So it's like
gotta beat that up.
I just moved into my new apartment in New York, so I had to break the lease. I bought a car in a day. I packed all the stuff that I was moving from my apartment into my car, and then the next day I drove to Ohio and set up
Just
shop.
like that.
Right, but like thinking about it, the car was probably the worst investment. But I was in panic mode, and I really needed it. So part of the reason why I have to tutor right now is because I got to pay these car notes, to be honest. But like, it was one of the worst decisions I made. Thinking back, I should have just got a U-Haul, packed my stuff, came here and bought a used car.
So I will say this though, even though you say that's the worst decision, I think the fact that you got the car and you've sort of kind of been forced to, you know, have this job and do all these things on the side, I feel like your time management is impeccable right now.
It's made me a better person.
but you know, you have no other choice. But I think we're gonna take that out of that. So yeah.
And in terms of time management and just overall being serious with your time, once you do that, you become more consistent. And consistency is the key to greatness, right? So just being repetitive with your actions over and over and over again, it's gonna become second nature to you, and that's why it's gonna feel like you're able to do 10,000 things in 24 hours, and people can barely do 2.
Really?
So
honestly,
I just want to touch on one thing real quick, just about my experience of being on the admissions committee. Like I said, I'm interviewing applicants right now, and I was once in their shoes a couple years ago, and I guess the biggest thing is just being who you say you are in your application, because everybody ups themselves when you're writing these applications and you're doing, you know, I'm involved in community service, I put this many hours in, and it's like, at the end of the day, man, you just have to be exactly who you say you are when you get into medical school and not change up. But we're gonna have a full segment about that, and we're thinking about doing something with actually having everybody on the admissions committee and just talking about their experience. But I think it's important because medical school is trying, but at the end of the day, like, you have to be exactly who you say you are.
So pretty much what Trevor's trying to say is, one thing, you know, we have been talking about what are some things to do before you get to med school. Make sure that, you know, if you're writing something down in your application, you're able to talk about it. You're able to really show that, okay, I did this or I'm about it, because trust me, these guys you've been interviewing like how many people now? Did anything on your application? Make sure you're ready to talk about it. All right? Okay. So I just want you guys to take in everything that we've spoken about. We spoke about time management. We spoke about finances. We just spoke about using our time to just, you know, do something productive. Really try to take this in and try to incorporate it into your day, so that you guys, by the time you get into med school, you know, these things you don't really have to learn, and your process will be so much more smoother. You'll be able to do so much more, and you'll be a lot more effective. All right. So thank you guys once again for tuning in.
Like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna drop the links below. You did.
All right. What's happening?
All right.